Okay, so this is the December 2024 edition of what I've been writing with lately. This is the video in which I talk about the pens and pencils that have been on my desk. It's not a set of reviews or recommendations, just what I've been using this month. And it's been kind of an odd assortment. December's always a weird month for work and for writing. So let's just jump right into it. There's some fun stuff here and maybe a couple duds as well. The first pen I've been using is this. It's called a Pentel Glidewrite Metal or Pentel Glidewrite Executive. And basically the Glidewrite is Pentel's version of sort of a high-end ballpoint, kind of like their Pilot Acro or their Jetstream. And the Glidewrite is a standard pen. Again, it looks a lot to me like a Pilot Acro. And the Glidewrite Metal or Executive is one of the cheapest executive pens you could find. So it's fully metal, top to bottom. It uses a ballpoint Glidewrite refill. And it's just sort of a higher end version of the normal Glidewrite. It's a very, very smooth ballpoint. It's kind of like an uglier version of the Pilot Acro 1000. It's larger and it sells for about $6 on Amazon or wherever you want to buy it. But it's very, very smooth. It's very reliable. And it's a pretty nice writer. Again, if you're looking for a smooth ballpoint, this is pretty much as smooth as you can get. It is like, it's not silent, but it has like a glass-like smoothness. It's really kind of wild. And it's not enough feedback for me, I would say, but I had one of these in silver. I saw it in black, and it looked really great online. When I bought it, doesn't look as great in person. Has some sort of like dimpling over here, metal clip, metal button. So it has kind of some nice qualities to it, and it's very affordable. It just doesn't blow me away. It's a good concept and a good refill, but almost too smooth, and it's just a little plain. So fun addition, but not something I think I'll be using too much longer. Okay, so the next pen I've been using this month is this. It's called the Muji Ballpoint pen or ballpoint knock type body aluminum. It's basically Muji's aluminum version of their standard ballpoint, and it's not sold in the US. So you may have to hunt one of these down, but they're very easy to find on eBay and places like that. And basically it's a pretty standard Muji ballpoint, but in an aluminum model. And the cool thing about this is that it will take an Energel refill. So Muji's ballpoints are kind of, they're not the best. You know, they're fine, but they're not that much fun. So what you could do is get this body and put in your Energel refill. I just did a standard needle tip. What's that? The LRN7 maybe, or maybe it's the LRN5. I think it's LRN5. And it looks great. It's a perfect fit there. It looks very cool. It's a good looking pen. It's a little thin, but it's a nice writer and it's a cool pen to have with you. I think it's a little slippery, but I like it a lot. And for, $7, $8 or something like that with that Energel refill, it's a really tough pen to beat. And it sort of reminds me of some of Pentel's higher end pens, like the Hex Reform, or maybe it's called the Hex Form. And some of those, which, may cost you like $25, $30, and they're hard to find. Some of them are only sold in like the South Korea market and things like that. Instead, you're getting pretty similar experience for $7, $8, $10, something like that. Probably cheaper if you live in an area where Muji sells these directly or you happen to be visiting, something like that. So that's the Muji aluminum ballpoint pen with Energel refills with no customizations or anything like that required. It's a lot of fun. Next we have this. This is a Kitaboshi. It's a ballpoint pen. It's one of those pens that looks to be made of wood. I think it actually may be made of wood, and it has some metal elements like the clip, the button, you could hide this over here so that it's unbranded, which is cool. And it's essentially just a pretty standard ballpoint pen, but it has that sort of like wood or pencil styling to it. And I picked this up, I'm not really sure where. I think it was pretty cheap, might have been a gift, but I've been using this a little bit this month just to sort of kind of switch things up a little bit, and because I haven't really been playing with it maybe as much as I wanted. It has a really unpleasant, gritty metal on metal feel You could probably hear when I slide this. Kind of just catches here. It's just not a good button press. It is a very standard ballpoint refill. It's just a skinny, old school ballpoint. It's not bad, just very undistinguished. There's a million other pens that write just like this one. It's a refill like that would come from the pen you get for free at your bank, kind of that thing. It has a scratchy sound to it, which is just from the sort of internals rattling around. And again, this is a cool looking pen, but definitely not one I recommend buying and not one that I have enjoyed using. I like that they're doing that metal on wood thing. There's another company that does this called Marks or Markies or something like that. And I think those ones are probably a little bit higher quality than this. But I was interested in this was Kitaboshi makes some really nice pencils that I've used and really enjoyed. I thought maybe they would have a good pen, but that's not the case. I think this is something they probably just found from some of their brand and they threw their logo on. That's my guess. I don't know that for a fact, but it's that sort of quality level. So disappointing. Next up, we have the Pilot S20 Ballpoint. And I've talked about this pen many, many times. This is just one of my Hall of Fame pens. And I recently picked up another one. I saw a pretty deep sale on Amazon, and I don't know why. I just bought another one. I bought this time in the dark brown, which I think is my favorite. And just been kind of using it right out of the box and really enjoying it. These are a little slippery in the winter when your hands are starting to get a little kind of dry. And sometimes the wood grain is a little bit smoother, sometimes a little bit rougher. That'll depend on how long you've used it. If it's gotten wet, it may depend on the type of wood. I'm not really sure. This one's on the smoother side. It's kind of nice when it gets a little bit more texture, maybe when it gets older. But this is a great pen. And for the $13 or $14 that this is currently for sale on Amazon, it is like one of the best dollar for dollar pens that you could buy. Looks great, has that beautiful contoured shape, really nice metal elements, good click, cool clip, and the standard refill, which is this. This is just called the Pilot. This is the BRFN-10F. The really nice wide one is called the -10M. This is the F, the fine one. And this is a great refill. You know, it's not quite as cool as some of the BRF, the metal ones, and it's, you know, not as smooth as it could be if it was a little bit wider, but it is a really great refill, and it's the type of refill you would use in a Dr. Grip, which are very good. And again, just a great pen, and I won't go on about these anymore. I think everyone that watches the channel knows that I love the Pilot S20. Next up is this. This is called the Uni Zento, Z-E-N-T-O. I have it in a 0.7 millimeter, and basically, I think the Uniball, the 1 and the 1F have been a pretty big hit for Uniball, despite some of the problems we found on this channel about them being not that reliable. And they have a model that they sell now at U.S. big box retailers, or maybe everywhere in the U.S. I'm not really sure, but that is called the Zento, Z-E-N-T-O. I bought a 2-pack of these because I wasn't really sure what was going on. I'm like, oh, Uni has a new pen, and it looks just like the one. Oh, it is a Uni one. It just happens to have different branding on it. I don't know if the one was too confusing, or maybe they wanted some different branding for, you know, big stores or the US, or who knows, but it's the Uni one. It does not have the tip protector that we've seen with some of the models. And it's a good writer. This one has been reliable, but it's quite new. I like it in the 0.7 millimeters. It's nice and smooth and has really good, I'll put it here, right? Has really good line quality, and the black is very black. This is a pigmented ink, so it is water resistant, and it is quite easy to read, which I really like. And this one has not failed. I've had a lot of problems with the Uni one, them failing prematurely. I think that's been kind of widely been the case, but this one's been good so far. It is pretty new. This was a 2-pack, so I used the other one first. If you want to do a quick comparison to this and the Uni one, I have a few right here. Here's the standard Uni one. This one only has the rubberized section goes halfway up. You could see the clips look a little different. See, this one has kind of has a pill shape here. This one has a circle shape. Everything else is the same. Grip section here is 3/4. Grip section here is just 1/4. So pretty similar, not quite the same. Here you have the two textures, hard plastic to rubber. This is the rubberized straight up. So very subtle differences, that one and the Zento. So if you've been using the Zento or you've been using the one, I would not go through the trouble of tracking down the other one. If you really like it, maybe you want to play around and find some of the other models. The refill, curiously, is the UBR-Z-07, and it literally says Zento on there, which is kind of strange. Usually you don't see a refill taking on the name of the pen, right? They don't call it the Pentel Energel Style Fit refill or whatever it is, right? They just call it the LRN7 or LRN5. But it's a pretty good writer so far. Hasn't failed on me yet. Maybe they made some changes, but I'm gonna keep playing with it because the Uni 1 and the Uni 1F and the Uni 1P and all those have been such popular pens despite some of their failings that maybe some of the potential is going to be realized with the Zento. So that's the Uni Zento in a 0.7 millimeter. I've been using the Jetstream Prime multi a lot. This is the Prime 3. I like these a lot. This is the all metal. This is in this sort of like bone color, off-white, which I think it looks super classy. It's a 3-color multi-pen. You could see that really cool split clip. Then we have the sliders, nice plastic, but still very good sliders. And they're in red, blue, and black. It's hidden, the color indicator is hidden up there. It is barely visible. You can probably just make it out. And it's a little bit hard because that blue looks a lot like a green, but it is blue. And again, it doesn't super matter. You could put green in there or purple, whatever you want. Full metal body, looks great, very, very clean. And this one has the metal refills. So that's the D1 refills, the SXR 200, which are very solid refills for D1s. And I've been curious about this one, or been using this one, because there's a new Jetstream 3 coming out with the light touch ink. That's going to be a different model. That's going to be a twist. So that new Jetstream Prime 3 is going to be out. I think it's out now in Japan, and it'll be available in the US relatively soon, but I think it's going to be $50+. So I was using this one thinking about the new one and hoping I can grab one of those soon, but we'll see what happens with availability and pricing. Lastly, this is a pen that's been kicking around my desk for a few months, and I've been wanting to use it more, but haven't really felt myself gravitate towards it. This is the Faber Castell Poly Ball, and this is in the XB, so the really wide refill. It's in this very nice navy blue with these sort of dark gray or gunmetal finishes on the sides. It's all plastic though. It looks metal, but it's not. It has a sort of triangular body shape to it. I'm not sure if you could make that out. So it kind of reminds me of a Lamy Safari. It is sort of like spike shaped, where it is narrower at the bottom and wider as it gets towards the top. It has this little Faber Castell sort of flare out, sort of like a baseball bat. And it's fully rubberized, except for obviously the button and the clip and all. And you can buy these on Amazon or whatever. And I think it's like maybe $8 or $7 or something. Pretty good click, but it's a larger pen. It looks like something you would buy kind of like a child maybe. And it has that XB, that very wide refill. It's kind of an old school ballpoint. Very light writing and doesn't look great, which sort of turned me off. And the fully rubberized body doesn't really, I don't really love these so much, but I don't know. This is something I kind of bought, just impulse buy. I think I saw it on maybe Amazon, maybe I bought it in store, can't quite remember. And yeah, haven't really used it a ton up until this month. And this month I've just been sort of forcing myself to give it a chance because I've had it a while. The refill is the Faber Castell ballpoint pen refill XB, so extra bold. You know, it's like the equivalent of a 1.6 millimeter, but it's not a great 1.6 millimeter, so that's not a good reason to track it down. Perfectly adequate pen and relatively comfortable if you're looking for something more grippy and maybe a little wider if you have big hands or you really like a triangular shape. But for me, nothing special and not worth tracking down unless you're just in love with the body shape. Okay, so those are the pens that I've been using this month. I would say, you know, kind of in summary, Pilot S20 is absolute Hall of Fame. The Zento is pretty interesting. Again, I'm kind of curious about what's going on here, but nothing to make a big deal about if you already have a Uni 1. Jetstream 3 Prime or Jetstream Prime 3, whatever, is awesome. And I think prices have dropped on these, so you can get them for a pretty reasonable price now. Just beware that there's a new one coming out. Faber Polyball, again, for me, is interesting and it looks good, but it's a skip. Kitaboshi kind of wood ballpoint pen hybrid is also a skip due to poor build quality. Muji aluminum ballpoint, definitely recommended. I like these a lot. Just note that they're not sold in the US in Muji stores and they're rather skinny. And the Pilot Glidewrite Executive, for me, just skip it and buy a 12-pack of the Pilot Glidewrites. You'll like them a lot better, and they are very good ballpoints and very affordable. There's just no reason to get it in the metal. You should get this refill and try to put it in something that you like better than this body. So those are the pens that I've been using in December 2024. Thanks for watching.